What up, Yu-Gi-Oh players? Today we have the list of Maze of Memories, meaning we got all of the full list. Some of these are brand new cards, so I do want to go over all of their effects. But as far as it goes in terms of reprints, there's basically just a ton of reprints in here for a lot of like legacy stuff like Gate Guardian. Heck, there's like Blackwing stuff. It's kind of all over the place. But the thing that I'm actually the most excited about is actually the Blackluster support. So let's go ahead and see if it's any good. There's Labyrinth support. Heck, there is no joke Gate Guardian support. Like, that's crazy. But let's check out their effects and see if it's actually any good. So starting right off, we got Labyrinth Heavy Tank. So you can normal summon this card without tributing. Can't attack the turn it is normal summon. During your main phase, you can place one of the Sanga of Thunder, Kazjin, or Sujin that is banished or in your hand or deck face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. Then, if you control a Labyrinth wall card, you get to destroy one monster your opponent controls. You can only use this effect of Labyrinth Heavy Tank once per turn. Okay, so you summon it, it's got okay stats, and then you can pop a card. If that effect was a quick effect, it'd be a lot better, but okay, that's that card. Next up, though, we have Shadow Ghoul of the Labyrinth. Its effect is you can discard this card, add a Labyrinth wall from your deck to your hand. At the start of the damage step, if your opponent monster battles while you control a Labyrinth wall card, you get to banish this card from your grave and destroy that opponent's monster. Oh, okay, so you can surprise, do something, but again, it has to be battle a monster. They would just probably get rid of the monster before this effect can actually even be utilized. Next up, though, alright, this is a super boss monster. This is the Combiner. Okay, this is pretty hype. Can we zoom in on that artwork? I want to see this thing. Alright, so Gate Guardians combined. So the ultimate Megazord. So it requires Sanga of Thunder, Kazjin, and Sujin. So it must be special summoned from your extra deck by banishing the above cards from your hand, field, and or graveyard. Okay, so if you can get rid of from the graveyard, that makes it easy. Then when your opponent activates a card effect that targets a card you control, as a quick effect, you get to negate that effect and destroy the card. So it has to target? Okay. And then the other effect is you can only use effective Gate Guardians combined thrice per turn. If this face-up special summon card and its owner leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you just special summon one level 11 or lower Gate Guardian monster from your deck or extra deck, ignoring summoning condition. Now, as far as the Gate Guardians, someone let me know, is there actually any good like targets for Gate Guardian? That would be absolutely amazing because, like, yeah, it's 3 times per turn, but it's so specific. If it was like an Omni Negate 3 times per turn, oh, I bet everyone would try to run this deck, but like, it has to target. All right. Next up, though, we have Gate Guardian. Oh, they have another boss. Okay, so this is Gate Guardian of Thunder and Wind. Oh, so like it's a triple combiner, and then there's the double combiners. Okay, so we have Sangan of Thunder. This is 2,500. Oh, by the way, the stats on this one, my bad. 3750 attack, 3400 defense. Really random for the attack, but it's like solid attack for like a boss monster, right? So Gate Guardian of Thunder and Wind. Now, it says that you can summon one Gate Guardian monster from your extra deck, ignoring summoning condition. So I'm guessing this is what you're going to be able to bust out, right? So it must be special summoned from your extra deck by banishing the above cards you control. During main phase, you can add a spell trap from your deck to your hands that mentions I was about to say Sangan. Sanga of Thunder, Kazjin, and Sujin. You can only use this effective Gate Guardian of Thunder and Wind once per turn. If this face up a special card and its owner control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can special one of your banished Sanga of Thunder or Kazjin. Okay, so someone's like the small one. Oh, okay, I gotcha. And then we got another boss one. So this is a mini boss. This is Gate Guardian of Wind and Water. So it requires Kazjin and Sujin. So it must be special from the extra deck by banishing the above cards you control. Once per chain, when your opponent activates a spell trap or effect on the field as a quick effect, you get to negate the effect. You can only use the effect of it twice per turn, and if this face-up special summon card in its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can special summon one of your banished Kazjin or Sujin. So I actually like this one a lot more. I think this is actually better than the boss. Spell trap or effect on the field, and that's a double per turn. Now we're looking at something a little bit better. Oddly enough, like the double is better than the triple. Okay, let's go ahead and check out the last one. So this is Gate Guardian of Water and Thunder. So 2550. Oh, my bad. Their attacks all different. Okay, so we have 2500, 2450, and this is 2550 for Gate Guardian of Water and Thunder, and then 23 defense. So it's Sujin and Sangan of Thunder must be special summoned from your extra deck by banishing the above cards you control. Once per chain, as a quick effect, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Change the attack to 0 until the end of its turn. You can only use this effect of Gate Guardian of Water and Thunder twice per turn. Okay, so changing two things to 0 is okay, but it doesn't negate their effects. Again, the previous card just has better overall potential for meta. Then if it's leaves the field, you get a special summon the Sujin and Sangan of Thunder. So one of the cards mentioned to bring it out. Okay, so let's check out the other support. Labyrinth Wall Shadow. So this is a field spell that says monsters can't attack the turn they are summoned. Oh, now we got Magic the Gathering effects. Except for monsters whose original level is 5 or higher. Oh, wait, that means they could just synchro, right? I guess that means it's anti-Season Link, potentially, right? Anyways, once per turn, during your main phase, you can place one of your Sangan of Thunder, Kajin, or Suijin that is banished or in your hand or deck face up in your spell and trap zones as continuous spells. At the start of your opponent's battle phase, you can target one monster your opponent controls with less than 1600 attack and destroy it. Okay. That's a really random effect. I mean, you could technically run this in other decks, right? Just monsters can't attack during the turn they're summoned. That's period, right? And then the once per turn, you get to place a card. And then also, at the start of your opponent's battle phase, you can just pop something with 1600 or less attack. That could be very interesting for some really weird plays where you give your opponent a monster, and if it's destroyed by a card effect, you might be able to get the effect out of the graveyard. I'm thinking creature swap, and then maybe giving them a Fire King. There's a little bit of play with this card in other decks, so I think Labyrinth Wall Shadow is a cool card. Next up, we have Double Attack Wind and Thunder. If you control Gate Guardian monster, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. This is a quick play spell. During your main phase, you can banish a card from a graveyard to add Sangan of Thunder, Kazujin, or Suijin that is banished or in your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect of Double Attack Wind and Thunder. Okay, so it's a usable card effect, and it's just one card in the field, so it's viable. Wait, Ryo Koki? Wait, was that Ryo Yoki? I thought this was that Ryo Koki? I think it's a variation of it. Anyways, I remember this card. It was an old school equip, right? If you're, this is now though, it's a normal spell card. It says if your life points, oh, no, you know what? I think it was basically it was honest in spell form, right? Wasn't that the original Ryo Yoki? Anyways, if your life points are lower than your opponent's, you can target one monster you control with Gate Guardian in its original life. Half your opponent's life points. Then that monster gains attack equal to your opponent's life points. Ooh. What? You can banish this card from a graveyard to add one of your Sangan of Thunder, Kazujin, or Suijin that is banished or in your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect of it once per turn. Okay, so that's actually pretty insane to just half your opponent's life points, and then it gains that amount. So you could potentially boost up something, and it's just one monster you control with Gate Guardian in its name. So you could easily, potentially one-shot your opponent with this card. Now the deck is seeming potentially just for memes, for plays, for OTKs, but I like this. This has got some potential. If it was a quick effect, though, it would be even better. But your life points do have to be lower, and I don't know of anything in the deck that just lowers your life points. So maybe just take some damage and then just activate it, and then you get to gain a huge amount of attack. Because again, at the start of it, as long as you don't damage your opponent, that's a boost 4,000. You put them at half. As long as you have a monster that has almost 4,000 attack, that's GG's. That's pretty interesting, actually. Because that monster had 3,750 attack. Could be pretty insane. YuGiOh support? Ain't no way, man. This is really old school. So it says special summon this as a normal monster, Insect Earth, level 5, 2100 attack, 100 defense points to your main monster zone in the same column that this card is still trapped. Then you can destroy one monster your opponent controls in this card's column. You can banish the card from the graveyard to add one of your Sangan of Thunder, Kazujin, or Suijin that is banished or in your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect of Prey of the YuGiOh. Now, this is a really old school Yu-Gi-Oh card. A lot of people were really excited about this, and I was actually reading some of the comments. I don't believe we're actually getting Dark Magician or Blue Eye support, because it said that they were going to give us old school support. Now, YuGiOh is pretty interesting. So this card actually was sometimes good. It was a card when it attacked. If you call it right, you get, I guess, to attack. But if you call it wrong, you just lose half of your life points, which at that point, yeah, you have the ability for that other effect, and it's really weird that they're mixing it in, but it's probably some anime stuff. Okay, is that all the support? I don't know. I got tabs for days here. We got lots of content. So next up, we got Black Luster Soldier, Legendary Swordsman. So it says you can ritual summon this card with Chaos Form or Super Soldier Ritual. Must be ritual summoned period. During your draw phase, before you draw, you can reveal this card in your hand, give up your normal draw this turn, and if you do, add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand. That's actually pretty decent. But it has to be during the draw phase, not whenever you draw, which would actually make it way better if it had that effect. And this is your opponent can't activate cards or effects during your battle phase. When this attacking card when this attacking card, that was ritual summoned using a normal monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can shuffle all cards your opponent controls into the deck. Ooh, if they can't activate anything. Now, more likely they would just negate whatever you're bringing out for the summon, but that is a pretty cool effect, being able to shuffle everything back. Now, I'm wondering if there's some cards that force your opponent just to set everything that they have. I don't think that there is anything. Most modern Yu-Gi-Oh decks, that doesn't really matter that much to have that effect, because if you're going to summon it and on top of that have it out, they would just stop it before if they actually had an answer to something good. So that's the way I see it. It's kind of lackluster soldier again. All right, next up though, oh, we got more Red Eye stuff. So that's kind of cool. So this is also coming out Maze of Memories. All these cards, by the way, Maze of Memories. I guess the release date is 3/9, so basically in a couple weeks here. So its name becomes Red Eye's Black Dragon while on the field in the graveyard. Opponent special summons a monster except during the damage step. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard to special summon a Red Eye's monster from your hand or deck, except for Red Eye's Soul. You can only use effective Red Eye's Soul once per turn. As a quick effect, you target a Red Eye's Black Dragon. You control and inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. You can only use the effect of it once per duel. Ooh, I was gonna say, dude, this card's actually pretty legit. Just like you just instantly send it to your hand and summon a Red Eyes monster from your deck. I mean, what are the good targets with this? Any Red Eyes, like, from the deck? That seems like it would be a pretty insane effect. Because you could just, Red Eyes Darkness Metal is a triple, too. Like, you just blast out a 20-100 attacker, and if they can't get rid of it, you're going to be able to bring back this card, because you send it anyways, and then you just bring this card back, and then, on top of that, you just deal another set of burn damage. And it is a level 7, but its stats are very mediocre at 900. But, again, you would more than likely just use it as material for other things, and it's got Red Eyes in its name. I think this is a pretty, like, solid card. Not, like, OP by any means so far, at least, you know, via that. Anyways, Duel Academy, another newer card going into the set. So this card gains the effects based on the monster types on the field. So if it's Warrior, Beast, or Pyro, once per turn, if you activate a trap card, except during the damage step, you can target one card your opponent controls a trap. That's actually pretty solid, because I feel like trap cards just haven't been seeing play. And just being able to get rid of a card, and on top of that, maybe search out, like you can run, there are some decks like Nordic that have searchers that as trap cards, you just activate and pop one. That's actually pretty solid. Dinosaur, Sea Serpent, or Thunder once per turn. If you activate a spell card, except during damage step, you get to do 1,000 damage to your opponent. Okay, since it's a once per turn, otherwise that effect would actually be game-breaking broken. 1,000 damage, I don't know if that's enough to matter. If it was 2,000, it'd actually be kind of solid, but not. I don't think that effect's that great overall, though. The Machine, Fairy, or Fiend once per turn. If you activate a monster effect, except during the damage step, you can target one face-up monster you control, gains 1,000 attack even if this card leaves the field. I actually think the first effect, just once per turn, being able to, if I activate any trap, I just gonna pop one card my opponent controls, and that's not just monsters or spell and trap, it's like either. I think that that's probably the best effect. Definitely has some potential, especially in the side deck. Now, Wake Up Your Elemental Hero, we've actually gone over some of these effects, so I'm not gonna double go over the same effects of it, but it just gains 300 attack for each monster used for its summon, and there's a way to get it out real easy. I actually already have gameplay of it. It's going to come out very soon, so if you want to see how OP the new hero stuff is, you can obliterate with the new heroes, and I've already gone over this effect of the hero stuff because it got announced like a while back. But next up, oh, is this Cyber Dragon support? So this is Evolution and Burst. So it lets you add a Overload Fusion from your deck to your hand. If you fusion summon a monster with this turn with Overload Fusion, using 6 or more monsters as material, that monster can attack a number of times each battle phase this turn, up to the number of monsters used as its fusion materials for this turn after this card resolves. You cannot spell some monsters except with spell effects. You can activate one Evolution and Burst once per turn. Okay, that could be potentially, I mean, all those Cyber Dragon decks, they could OTK pretty easy already. But anyways, next up, we have On Your Mark, Get Set, Duel. I like the name of this. So it's a continuous spell card. It says when this card is activated, if you control no other cards, you get to add a Synchron monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, during your standby phase, place one signal counter on this card. You can remove 2 signal counters from your field and send this face-up card to the graveyard to draw 2 cards, then send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. You can only activate one of them per turn. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. I mean, just the only downside with it is that, like, you have to wait during your standby phase. So you'd have to wait, you activate it just to search. That's already good, right? Synchro decks usually don't get like turn 2, turn 3. Synchros, either they win or they fail. That's, at the end of the day, sure, it kind of helps out what they need, but I think that it needs to be immediately during the next standby phase. You got to have that effect because, again, synchros are all or bust kind of an archetype. Let's be honest. If you're not making that brand drawing 50 cards, you probably got negated and you just end your turn pass. Like that's the nature of synchros. I've actually just covered synchros more recently, and it can negate everything, and your opponent just has to lose. Check the pin comment or just like look up like new synchros. It's insane how powerful they are, and this is definitely gonna help out for sure. Next up, we have time to stand up. So there's actually Red Dragon Archfiend support coming out, and I think this might be it. So it says if a dragon secret monster is in the field, you can special summon up to 2 monsters that are resonators monsters and or level 1 dragon monsters from your deck. Oh, summoning from the deck is good. When a monster effect is activated while you control level 10 or higher dark dragon synchro monster, you can banish the card from graveyard, negate that effect, and if you do, one secret monster you control gains 2,000 attack until the end of the next turn. You can only activate each effect of it once per turn. Okay, so that effect of special summoning is pretty good, but at the end of the day, it's a trap. Traps plus synchros, it's too slow. I just don't see it seeing play. Although you might be able to synchro summon during your opponent's turn, and that could be a little bit more viable because with the hot Red Dragon Archfiend Calamity, yeah, you negate everything that your opponent does for the rest of the turn. So if you can make that and you use this trap to make it, sure, but for the most part, synchros, it's all or nothing. This creepy little punk, what is this? This card is always treated as an Inferni card. So you special summons one of your Inferni monsters that's banished or in your hand or graveyard. Face up Inferni monster you control is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect. While this card's in your graveyard, you can set this card. That's actually so good. You could keep on just going Archfiend. Dude, that's pretty dang good. I mean, Infernis literally live off of that one card. Top deck, Archfiend, GG's, man. That's actually pretty good. Excel, Stardust, Synchro, like I said, some of the stuff we did cover, and if we did already cover it, I don't want to cover it twice. You know, there's no point, but it's also coming in this set. Okay, it's another new card. And if you haven't seen those videos, feel free to check it out, or you can pause this video and read it. Next up, Overlay Network. You can activate one of these following effects. Target one face of monster you control. Suppose summon one monster with the same level from your hand or graveyard in defense position, but it's negate its effects. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this effect, except for Exceeds monsters. And the other part of effect is target one Exceed monster you control, add one card attached to it to the hand. Okay, that could be interesting, because I don't know if there's any archetypes that let you attach from the deck and then you can add it back. That has some potential for some maybe interesting plays as well, especially with like with Exceed Reborn. I forgot. I think you can only attach. I think you attach XYZ Reborn as the trap card to it. So in theory, because it just has one card attached to it. Hold on, this could actually be pretty interesting. So going to the XYZ Reborn, it attaches. Okay, you get to attach XYZ Reborn to it as material. So you could then use this card, right? To re-add back that card and then set that card again. Will people use it? Probably not, but it's interesting. Alright, next up, Utopia Rising. So 2 level 4s. If this card is special summon, you get to target a number exceeding monster graveyard except for itself. Special summon in defense position, then you can detach all materials from this card and attach to that monster. You exceed summon, except during damage step, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. I think we actually did cover this one already. Sometimes, like, they changed the name or some of the wording, and I don't remember it. Anyways, next up, we got Baryon Untopia. It's always treated as a Baryon's card. Number monsters you control with a number between 101 and 107 in their name, as well as CXCs monsters and number C monsters you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And your opponent can't target them with card effects. Once per turn, if you special summon an Exceeds monster with rank up magic spells effect, you target that Exceeds monster and once monster your opponent controls attached to an opponent's monster, that Exceeds monster as material. Wow, that's actually pretty good. You can't be destroyed by card effects and they can't be targeted. And on top of that, you get to absorb one monster. I mean, heck, that's potentially a pretty okay card for them. I like that. Next up, we got Saga of the Dragon Emperor. So this effect is a quick play spell card that says target one of your dragon monsters you control. Its attack becomes doubled until the end of this turn. Then, if your opponent currently controls a dragon monster, at the activation of the targeted monster effects cannot be negated for the rest of this turn. During your main phase, you can banish the card from your graveyard to special summon one of your dragon exceeding monsters that is banished or in your graveyard in defense position. You can only use one Saga of the Dragon Emperor effect per turn and only once that turn. Okay, so I'm wondering if this is supposed to be Galaxy Eye support. Next up, though, we have Performapal Duelist Extraordinaire. Dang, this is a really long effect. All right, so the Pendulum effect. Oh, so it's at Spellcaster Pendulum effect, level 4, Pendulum scale is 8, 1800 attack, 400 defense. Pendulum effect is once per turn at the start of the damage step. If a monster battles, you can return this card to the hand, and if you do, banish a spell from your deck. For that battle, your monster can't be destroyed Also, the battle damage you take is halved. The monster effect is when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you get to add one Supreme King Dragon Supreme King Dragon monster, Supreme King Gate monster, or Soul of the Supreme King from your deck to your hand, and then once per turn during the standby phase, activate this effect. Each player can banish one spell from their deck. Once per turn, add one of your banished spells to your hand, then discard it. And if you do, negate the attack. Add one of your banished spells back to your hand, and then you just discard it instantly? That's a very strange effect. I wonder if there's any other way to like really utilize that spell that you just banished, because you get to banish from the deck. There might be some potentially like weird things you could do with that card. Next up we have Kayori Igetsu. So especially someone's level 4 or lower spellcaster or fairy spellcaster, wing beast warrior monster from your hand. If you do equip it with this card, then you can return all dragon monsters on the field to the hand. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent from the spell and trap zone, this turn, while face up, you get to add one polymerization spell, fusion parasite from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Kayori Getsu once per turn. Okay, that's a pretty interesting effect, just being able to summon, but the other effect, being able to add, actually might be what people really use it for. But it's during the end phase, so I really feel like because that effect exists, I think most people will just be like, nah, I'm okay with that. It's too slow, right? Next up, though, we have Battle Royale. What the heck is this? The joining. So it says activate this card by targeting one effect monster on the field. The first 2 times that monster would be destroyed by battle each turn, it is not destroyed. When it is destroyed by battle, that player that destroyed it gains 2,000 life points. If the turn player opponent takes battle or effect damage, activate this effect. That opponent can apply the following effects. Plus one level 4 or lower monster from your hand or deck, but lose 2,000 life points. Ooh. Dang, that could be pretty dang cool to actually get that effect, but will people let it linger on the field? I don't know. Very interesting that it's called Battle Royale. I don't know why they're calling it Battle Royale. I think it's just for the name. Remember when we got that like Switch game that had Battle Royale in its name? All right, this is a really long vid. Jeez. Next up, though, we got Soul of the Supreme King. It says pay half your life points to spell from one Supreme King Ziark from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning condition, but negate its effects. It's returned to the extra deck during the end phase of this turn. When your opponent activates a spell or effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, add one Supreme King Zark from your face-up monster zone to special summon up to 1 each Pendulum Dragon, Exceeds Dragon, Synchro Dragon, and Fusion Dragon monster from your hand, deck, extra deck, and or graveyard. I mean, if you get it off, sure. Cool effect for sure. Next up, we have Firewall, Dragon, Darkfluid, Neo, Tempest, Terahertz. And I believe we did go over this card's effect, so I won't double up on it. And then next up, we have Angel of Blue Tears. Target one face-up monster on the field. Its controller's opponent takes damage equal to the number of cards in the hand times 200. So it's like Secret Barrel. Then negate that target's effects until the end of this turn. Okay. It is not a like trap or a quick play, though. It is just a normal spell. It says, if effect damage is inflicted except during damage step, you can banish this card from graveyard to set one normal trap directly from your hand or deck. If set from the hand, it can be activated this turn. You can only use one Angel of Blue Tears effect per turn, only once that turn. Okay, so that could be potentially pretty decent. Again, it's like a burn card, and it searches out any normal trap. That effect might actually be a little bit better. Interesting card. And then next up, we have Forge a New Future. It says, once per chain, if a Link 4 monster is Link summoned, you can place one counter on this card, maximum 3. Then you can apply the following effect based on the number of counters on it. So if it has 1, you get to declare one card name, and if you do, the activated effects and effects on the field of cards with that original name are negated this turn. So you can negate whatever you need to. Second part of the effect is spell summon one level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard. That's a good effect. Third effect is send this card to the graveyard, and if you do, spell summon one Link 4 monster from your extra deck. You can only activate one Forge a New Future per turn. Okay, so I mean, to get that other effect, good luck, because you have to go. It could be your opponent though. If your opponent goes for Link 4 and then you go for Link 4, bam, you're instantly there. I just don't see people playing that card realistically. But anyways, guys, that is going to go ahead and wrap it up for the brand new cards, because I just wanted to go over the new cards that we haven't gone over. Most of the stuff is actually going to be a reprint, but there is an errata here on the Ancient Fairy Dragon. But we'll cover more of the cards later in another video as far as like reprints and the money cards in the set. But we do have the rarities, but we'll have to wait and see in terms of like the ratios on this set. But let me know what you think of the new cards announced in Maze of Memories. So far, I haven't seen anything super OP that I'm like, okay, this is definitely going to be a tier 1 deck. I think what is good is going to be remaining here. This is just for like nostalgia fans. The Gate Guardian stuff was okay. The hero stuff is actually pretty good. There's another hero fusion that's great, but we'll cover that very soon. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn the bell so you don't miss out when we cover more new Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care and I'm out. Peace.